Hello, my name is Adrian Stafford. This is my Module 7 instructional lesson plan and presentation for the course Advanced Methods of Teaching Students with Significant Disabilities. So for today, I'm going to go over my instructional lesson plan. I'm going to talk about the summary of it, talk about how it will benefit learners, and how I'll utilize the data moving forward. So here is my lesson plan, and I'm just going to go over it briefly and some of the main components. So the big idea here and the big ultimate understanding is for the students to understand that plants are essential to our environment and our world, and knowing the different parts of a plant and how it helps the purpose of each plant. My objectives or my learning goals are going to be that students will be able to identify key vocabulary, the 5 main parts of a plant: the root, the stem, the flower, the fruit, and the leaves. Students will also be able to apply their understanding and comprehension of the purpose of each part of the plant. And finally, students will be able to label the parts of a plant on a diagram. So I have a few different assessments incorporated within. So this lesson is going to include a parts of a plant reading passage, a cut and paste worksheet. There's a reading comprehension worksheet. There is a YouTube video that's incorporated in the beginning. And then the students will use a smartboard, Chromebooks, different software programs, and then classroom materials like scissors, glue, and crayons. So for this activity, what we're going to do, and I will show the visuals of the different worksheets being used. I have included them in this document. But how we're going to start is the teacher is going to build background among the students. They started a unit on living things, and this chapter is around plants. So what we'll do to activate the prior knowledge is we'll do a discussion about what we've talked about animals and living things, and then they're going to make the connection to plants, and then we'll guide into that. Once we have concluded our discussion or our review of the last unit or the last chapter, then I will play a YouTube video, which is parts of a plant and their purpose for kids. And I'm utilizing that to gain student attention and to keep their interest. It is very student friendly, and the video is also interactive. So it talks about the different parts of a plant so that they can hear it, see it, and be involved with it. As the video goes on, I am going to pause periodically in the video just to ensure that students are understanding what is being explained in the video. These are the key vocabulary words. So the key vocabulary that we're going to focus on in this lesson are plant, leaves, stem, roots, flowers, and fruits. And these words will be displayed on the whiteboard or on the smartboard for students to see. I won't have the definitions up there. The definitions are reviewed in the video, but I don't want to leave it up there because I want the students to be able to identify on the worksheets. At the end of the unit, or at the end of the class, I will go ahead and add the definitions so that they are aware of what each part is, what each vocabulary word the definition is. So then I'll lead the discussion, do the YouTube video. And again, this is just to kind of check their understanding, see what they already know. I did do a little bit of questioning beforehand, and a lot of the students were saying that they believed that a plant was simply a stem and a flower. They didn't know about the leaves, the roots, and all the other aspects that are tied in. So we'll do that piece together. The second part is the guided practice. So that's the we do together. And I'm going to hand out a reading comprehension passage to the students to further develop their understanding from the video. So we will utilize what's called the popcorn reading strategy. So call on one student, that student will read a little bit, and then they'll choose another student to read as well. Utilizing that to help them with their reading fluency. If I'm finding that there's difficulty in the reading, I will have it uploaded into Kami so that the students can listen to the passage being read. Kami is a program on the computer that I will utilize if I'm finding that they're having difficulty with the fluency. And then I would allow them to just hear it. The next part is I will also be asking questions throughout the reading as well. Just stopping periodically to, again, check student understanding. Are they understanding what we're reading? Are they understanding the purpose of each part of the plant? The next piece is the independent practice. So this is where the students will be able to do a few activities independently to assess their own knowledge. So the first part is identifying parts of a plant worksheet. So they'll use this worksheet to identify the parts of the plant. They will cut and glue the different parts, and then they'll pin them to or glue them to where they belong. This is just to check that they're understanding where these parts are located, and then also what their purpose is. The purpose will be checked through a comprehension check at the end. Myself and a paraprofessional will be walking around. My paraprofessional will be helping as well to ensure that, again, the students are able to cut, able to glue, and if they need any parts read to them, then we are there to assist with that as well. We're not giving them the answers, though, because I want to check for accuracy and make sure they're understanding, again, what they've read, what they've listened to, and if they're able to apply it in their own sense. So after they're done with the cutting and gluing of the parts of a plant worksheet, the next is the comprehension worksheet. This checks for their understanding of what was read, and this goes over the purpose of the parts of the plant. So this will be the summative assessment. And the students will have 4 sentences to read. Again, I will show you this worksheet in just a second at the end. And then they'll have 6 possible answers to choose from. So it allows for a little bit of flexibility and seeing if they can figure out which 2 do not belong, because there's 2 pieces that don't belong. And then the other 4, they just have to find out where they belong. And then this assessment data is going to be utilized to determine the next steps. And I will talk about that at the end, what we will do with the data. So this is just talking about the formative assessments and the summative assessments that we discussed. So this is the first worksheet. This is the reading passage, the summary. This lesson is a 2nd grade level lesson, but the materials are modified to a 1st grade level. That's the reading level of these students. So this is to their level. So this is it's a quick read. Again, not as focused on fluency, more focused on comprehension. So again, if there is an understanding or they're having difficulty with fluency, then I would have it played through the computer so that they can listen to the passage so that they can get the understanding down. This next activity, this is the next worksheet. This is identifying parts of the plant. So there's a picture of the plant, and then there's 5 boxes that they have to identify, and there's 5 words that go with it. So they have to figure out which one is the flower, which part is the fruit, which part is the stem, which part is the leaf, and which part is the root. And again, using the picture clues and evidence from the video, from the reading passage, and our discussions to identify. The last worksheet is the assessment check-in worksheet, and this is to check their understanding. So there are 4 questions. What part of the plant holds it above the ground? What part of the plant is pretty and comes in different colors? And what part of the plant makes food? And which part of the plant grows underground? They can utilize their previous activity. They can use this worksheet to help them answer the questions if they need to. Again, just checking understanding to see if they're understanding what each part does. And these are the pictures that they choose from. So these are the 6, and they would hopefully be able to determine that the hose and the dirt are irrelevant, and they can get rid of those options and then focus on these 4 and finding their where they belong. So that is a summary of the lesson. When students are finished with the lesson, if they finish early, we utilize a reading program called Lexia on the Chromebook. And the students, if they finish early, they'll be able to go onto the Chromebook, onto Lexia, and practice and continue reading skills and comprehension on the Chromebook while the others finish. Again, with this activity as well, the paraprofessional and myself will be walking around the room. We'll be reading these sentences if necessary to the student, but we will not be giving them the answer because, again, I want to see if they're making progress and if they're understanding. This lesson is going to benefit the students because it's science related. The kids have a very heavy interest in when we talk about science concepts. So this is something that they're interested in. The activities that I chose are the cutting and gluing, again, because they like the hands-on activity. So it's something that's a little more engaged, and it gives them a little bit of fluency in how they can decide. And if they get one wrong, it's not just there won't be 2 answers wrong. It would just be 1 for this comprehension piece. The other part of this activity is the comprehension, like I mentioned. And again, it's just getting them to be able to read, to see pictures. And then the YouTube video is also engaging, interactive, and it's on YouTube, and kids love YouTube. So that's also going to not only gain but keep their attention as well. So that's why I chose these different resources. Also, due to the length of time, it's only a 20 to 30-minute lesson, so there's not enough time to bring in more materials. What I will do as a follow-up is I will bring in a real plant, or I will borrow a real plant from another teacher, and then the students will be able to get that feel for the real investigative aspect of it, being able to see the leaves, touch the stem, and give them that interactive piece where they get to feel the plant. That's not included in this lesson because that would be a follow-up afterwards. And how will I use the data to drive this lesson? So I'm going to be using this data to determine the next steps. If there is student mastery, or mostly mastery, then we would be able to move on the lesson or do a little bit of follow-up. If I'm finding that majority of the students are not understanding the concept, or are mixing up the parts, or are not understanding the purpose of the plant, then we would go back and do this lesson in a different format. I would do it in a different way. Try a different activity, different hands-on aspect, something just to kind of, again, grab their attention, get their focus, and to help that ensures that they're understanding and learning from what is being taught. So if mastery is achieved, then we would move on. We would do a quick review and move on. If they need a little bit of review, we can go back and, like I said, use that hands-on aspect of working with the plant. And if mastery is not achieved, then we will be reviewing the concepts again and doing the lesson again in a different way or a different format. So that is my lesson. Again, my name is Adrian Stoffergan, and this is for class ELSE 6073. Thank you very much, and have a great day.